Hello, so do you have problems taking the handbrake off, or do you have problems putting the handbrake on? Does it keep getting stuck halfway down, halfway up, and the car starts beeping and saying it's still on, and it gets quite frustrating? Well, if you have those problems, this video will help you to get rid of them. Now, I'd say that about 95% of pupils I've taught over the 20 years I've been teaching have had trouble with the handbrake. It's a really common fault, and it's one of those things that when people become driving instructors, they struggle to understand how anyone could have a problem with such a simple thing as a handbrake. Well, it's not that simple to new drivers, so let me explain more about this. It's commonly called a handbrake, but the proper name is parking brake. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to call it a handbrake because that's what most people call it. But parking brake, handbrake, whatever you want to call it what you want, it's the same thing. It's this thing here. Now, when it's up is when it's on, and when it's down is when it's off, because a lot of people struggle with that. And I know to those experienced drivers watching this will just laugh and say, well, that's obvious. Remember that I work with a lot of people who have never driven at all. They've got no idea what all this is. So the handbrake, when you take it off, this can cause real problems. And this is a common sight on driving lessons. People doing this. And they just can't get the handbrake off. I've had people nearly giving themselves a hernia just getting the handbrake off. So I'm going to show you how simple it is. Now, many years ago now, 2006, I started training in martial arts. And when I did karate, one thing I learned is that technique is more important than power. This isn't about being strong. It isn't about being macho and having big muscles. Because a lot of girls I teach say, I wish I had bigger muscles to pull this off. I wish I was like a man and I could lift this off easily. It's nothing to do with that. It's technique. I'm going to use one finger and one thumb and I'm going to release it. All you do is put it up, push the button in, drop it. It's that simple. It's not the power, it's the technique. And I'm going to put it back on with the button, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Many times people are struggling. What I must understand is you've got to put it up before it will go down. A lot of times people are pressing the button and going down. You won't go down whatever you do. You've got to put it up for it to go down. So I'm holding my foot brake on just so the car doesn't roll. I've got it in gear as well. And if you haven't seen the videos I've done about leaving your car parked in gear, watch those because they're invaluable. There's some very good, important information in those videos. So to take it off, you put it up and watch the button. I might even zoom in on the screen here if I can. I'm not sure exactly how well you can see this. But if I pull this up, you're going to see this silver button on the end of the handbrake. We'll go in a moment. So as I put it up, just watch that button. See, it goes in slightly. I'll do it a few times. Like that. So it goes in. You must make it go in by pulling up. Then press the button. Then it's easy. All the way down. No problem. Another common thing people have trouble with is they do this. Right, what you've got to do is push it till it hits the deck. Make sure this hits the floor. So you put it up, press the button in, hit the floor, down. That's off. That's completely off. And that's what you want. Many times, new drivers will do this. And if you drive, I'll actually show you what happens if you do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the handbrake off, but I'm deliberately not going to take it off properly. Now, it is off. It's good to know. I'm going to put it down as low as I can and put it up just once. So the red light's on my dashboard there warning me. It's an exclamation mark in a circle with a couple of brackets around it, and it shows you the handbrake is still on. It isn't actually on. It's not going to damage this. It's slightly up, but it isn't actually on. So I'm going to move the car forward now, and watch what happens when I do this. It will go because it is off, but it will stay in a moment. Park brake applied. So I'll pull over again. Interesting, when that noise happens, the signal sound doesn't come on. I am signalling, as you'll hear in a moment. Look at this. But when the handbrake noise is on, the signal sound doesn't come on. I'm going to move from here just because I'm by this driveway, so I'm going to go just down the road. But lots of people mess up on their driving tests because of that. Still on. So, to make sure you've got it off, what you've got to do is make sure it hits the floor like that. Now, I know you can't see the dials on here, but there is a red light that comes on. when the handbrake is applied. So I'll actually put a bit of video in so you can see that now. I'll overlay a bit of video showing you the red light being on and off. But that red light must be off when you're driving. The lights on here are colour coded. So red means stop immediately, sort the problem out, get the handbrake off quick. Amber means sort it out as soon as you can. Green means it's fine, it's like a traffic light system. So that's what you do with a handbrake. How does it actually work though? Because if you understand how it works, it all makes more sense. The handbrake is just a little cable, like a wire, that goes to the back two wheels of the car. So when you put it up like this, you feel it getting tighter under your hand there. That's the cable tightening. If you're driving with it on, you can stretch the cable. Now this cable is tough. These things don't break easily. It's a bit like if ever you've seen one of those cheese cutters, when you put a piece of cheese and you get a cheese wire, really thick wire that can cut through stuff. That isn't going to break easily, but over time it will stretch and stretch and stretch. I know I had one of these repaired way back in the early 2000s, and I think it was £45 to have it tightened. Then a few years later, I don't have it done much, but I had it done, and I think it was £105 or something. I don't know what it costs these days, probably more like £150 or something. But yeah, you can have them tightened, but it costs money. So to avoid spending the money on that, all you've got to do, make sure the car is dead still. A rule I have with my pupils is make sure your brake, the foot brake, is fully down and you've stopped for at least 2 seconds before you even touch the handbrake. Because I'll show you something else now that a lot of people do on driving lessons, and this is something that can panic instructors and examiners, and when I do it, you'll see why. Pupils pull up like this, and this is what they do: mirror, signal, no, don't do the handbrake. People always go for the handbrake. Leave it, wait, stop, wait a few seconds, put it on. I could leave it in one as I turn off to leave it parked in gear, let the engine completely go off. Take your time, don't rush these things. But loads of people go for that. I've had several times over the years where pupils have been travelling at 70 miles an hour towards a roundabout and they go for the handbrake. Don't pull the handbrake on at 70. Your wheels will lock up at the back. You go skidding off the road. You could be in a massive crash. Don't ever touch this when you're moving. That's only for absolute emergencies. If everything else fails, you may have to resort to stopping with this. That is not something you want to be doing. That's for absolute extreme emergencies. Normally, if someone's been tampering with your brakes, that's the only way your brakes would fail like that. Because the way brakes work in cars now, they have dual circuit braking, which means when you brake, the front left and back right brake work together, and the front right and back left brake work together like a diagonal across the car. So you've got 2 separate circuits for your braking. So the chance of both those circuits failing at once is 100 trillion to 1 or something like that. So that's when you may be forced in slowing down with the gears and the handbrake, but don't pull it on when you're moving. It's quite common when people learn to drive. It's quite funny this. Whenever you're teaching people to change gear, they often go for the handbrake to change up to second and third. So be careful you don't mistake the handbrake for the gear stick. This may sound funny to experienced drivers, but many new drivers think this is the clutch. Yeah, I'd say about 20% of the learners think this is the clutch, and very often they're calling this the clutch and they think the handbrake is down there. I can make a whole series of videos about that, about the fun you have teaching people to drive, because I've never shown you me teaching new instructors. I've shown you me teaching a pupil from beginning to end, but you haven't seen me teaching instructors. So that's what we need to know about the handbrake. One other thing about the handbrake is, because I know a lot of you probably already have comments on this already, do you have to press the button in when you pull it up? Well, no, you don't, because in the car's manual it actually says don't. And the advantage of not doing it is it comes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is quite stiff, 7 is quite stiff. It's on. You do that. So you put it up officially without the button. If you do it with the button, the thing is, people do this when they're learning. They put it on and then they relax the hand and it goes down halfway and gets stuck. And then it'll start beeping again. The car will move, but it'll be beeping. So the reason I've always done it with the button in is it doesn't matter if you do, it doesn't do any damage. I just prefer that because it gets a bit annoying if you hear this noise all the time. that noise just irritates me. And a lot of people say, what is that annoying sound? So there's nothing wrong with having the button in, the ratchet, press it in. It doesn't matter how you do it. There are many ways of doing these things, and it doesn't matter how you do it, as long as it's safe and effective. Who cares how you do it? So that's just a few things about a handbrake for you to help you out. If you've got trouble taking it off, remember, you must put it up, then press the button. If I do it really high now, that's quite high. You put it up, press the button in, then drop it all the way. It's easy. And I must admit, there was time I had a pupil. She was a really small girl. She must have been about 5 feet tall, or maybe less than that. And she had the seat right forward like this. And I thought, just for a joke one day, I'm going to pull the handbrake on really hard. I'm going to see if she can take it off. And I wanted to prove to her it was about technique, not power. And I got her to do the 2-finger method. I pulled it on really hard, and she was like this. She was having like her feet trying to say, I can't get it up. She's trying to stand up, trying to pull the handbrake up. And I said, look, it's not about power, it's about technique. 1 finger, 1 thumb. Easy. And when she got it, she found it easy. So I'm not being nasty to her, I'm helping her by showing her it's about technique, not power. If you've had trouble taking a handbrake off or pulling it on or anything like that, let me know in the comments. Let me know any questions you've got, and I'll get back to you whenever I can. Check out the other videos on the screen now for more help with learning to drive. And as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.